So you've found HWA or Hemlock Woolly Adelgid in your woodlot. What do you do? My name is Donna Crossland. I am an ecologist in the Wabanagi Acadian forest, and in this video we're going to review some of the options you may choose now that you know you have Hemlock Woolly Adelgid. You may decide to do nothing. Some people refer to that as letting nature take its course. This is not nature taking its course. That this is an invasive species that humans have brought here from southern Japan, and it is very destructive. There will be 90 to 100% mortality of all of the eastern hemlock on the landscape in Nova Scotia. Maybe you choose to do a silvicultural thinning. That's cutting down selectively some of the hemlock in the forest. But before you do that, you may want to consider some additional factors. Thinning the woodlot changes the very nature of what a hemlock forest is. It's a tree that can sequester enormous amounts of carbon, so it's not if, it's when most of the hemlock die, there's going to be a release of carbon stores, so that exacerbates the climate change issue. So we're losing much, much more than just this one single species. I would caution that the most prominent issue with choosing silviculture is that the work needs to take place several years prior to HWA's infestation in the stand. The hemlock needs several years to respond to the openings and the additional nutrients that are created from the thinnings that you're going to carry out. And so a light harvest once you have HWA may aid your pocketbook, but it won't really help the ecology of your hemlock stand. In an infested stand, silviculture may actually speed up the HWA infestation, spread it around if you conduct the activities during the spring and summer months when the crawlers are out and about. If you leave your stand and the dead trees, they're very valuable for wildlife habitat and as well biodiversity. We have hemlock reishi growing out, and we have amazing denning sites for wildlife. If you preemptively cut down hemlock before they've started to decline or die, you may be cutting down the very hemlock that exhibits some genetic resistance to HWA. We still hope that that is somewhere on the landscape, that there are trees that can resist HWA. Cutting some hemlock trees down in a hemlock stand doesn't actually permanently protect the residual stand. The remaining hemlock in this forest will still die. Your third option, in order to keep this beautiful hemlock on your landscape, is to use chemical control. Chemical control is widely used throughout the US as a primary defense. It's effective. It's fairly easily done now in Nova Scotia using several products that are now available. You can hire a certified pesticide applicator to come and treat your trees for you, or you may decide to become a pesticide applicator yourself. And you can do this through some online learning at the Nova Scotia Environment and Climate Change website provided in the link below. Or you may find a pesticide instructor who can give you some in-class learning. There are two methods to administer chemical to treat this tree. One is through basal bark spray, which is basically wetting the tree bark from about 1.4 meters in height down to the root flares. And the chemical that we use is designed to transfer through the bark and into the sapwood, where it gets translocated up into the tree canopy. The other method that we use more commonly around waterways is tree injection, where we actually take a drill, we drill holes that are fairly evenly spaced around the tree, and then we inject the product directly into the sapwood of the tree. Several injection tools and methods will be covered in another video. So you've decided to treat your hemlock. This is the lineup of products that we currently have in Nova Scotia available to treat HWA on hemlock trees. And they're all commercial, so you can't buy them over the counter, but you can apply and get your pesticide operator license, and then you'd be able to purchase them. The first one, I've just kind of lined them up as the two main go-to products that we are currently using in Nova Scotia. This is Zytec 2F. It is the product we use for basal bark spray applications. And this is Imajet, which we use for injections, tree injections. These are the products that we use when trees are still in reasonably good health. They have at least 65% canopy density and they still have new growth. If the trees decline and you got there a little too late, you may have to resort to these products. The first one is an organic product called triazin. So this gets injected into the hemlock trees. It doesn't last very long, but it goes up the tree quickly and knocks out the feeding Hemlock Woolly Adelgid. This one, Starkle, is the latest one to join the ranks. It's another basil bark spray, so you mix it up in a backpack sprayer and then you apply it to the trees, and it, again, is very fast acting, but it's of short duration. The point here is that these do not endure in the trees. They're fast acting, but in order to continue to combat the Hemlock Woolly Adelgid, you need to combine them or follow up with one of these products. Both the Zytect and the Imajet are imidacloprid based. That's a big word, imidacloprid, but it is basically a neonicotinoid. Neonicotinoids are a group of chemicals that act as neurotoxins on the biology of insects. They attack the or they lock into the neuroreceptors of insects. And so they're very targeted. It is not
lethal
to mammals, such as us humans, birds, amphibians. So it's a good chemical that way. Where it got its bad name was that it's caused the global decline of insect pollinators. And that's because of farming practices, primarily broadcast spraying with a big boom in fields, and so hitting all the flowering plants, and of course insects there that are doing good in the environment are getting knocked out by this neurotoxin. So important for us to remember that in this case we're using this neonicotinoid product for inside the tree. This is just going to affect the feeding insects in the canopy of the tree. Hemlocks do not flower. They're wind pollinated, so they don't attract bees and other pollinators. Zytect 2F, used as a basil bark spray, endures about 5 to 7 years in the trees. So the good news is if you use this over a period of 10 to 15 years, it means you're probably only applying this product twice to your hemlock forest. Imajet, which lasts at least 4 years, that's what's indicated on the label. So again, these products are of long duration, and so they're very good, very effective. There's a few things to consider when you're choosing between whether you're going to use Imajet or Zytect. One is that Zytect is about 1/3 the cost of Imajet, and it's very quick to apply to the tree. However, you can't apply it at water's edge. There's a 7-meter buffer when you're using this product. There's also a treatment limit, and so the Pesticide Regulatory Agency for Canada has said that we can't apply more than 1.9 liters on a hectare annually. When you use Imajet, there's no treatment limits. You can treat all of your trees in a single year, and you can also treat right up to water's edge. As well, there's reduced environmental exposure because you're basically loading this into a syringe or a canister, and then you're placing it directly into the tree. These are the products that will keep your trees alive so that they survive long enough to benefit from an established biocontrol program. If you want to seek more instruction on how to basil bark spray a tree or how to administer injections, we'll be covering this information in the other videos in this series.